Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode on My Aligned Purpose podcast. It's Biz Besties with our plus one Biz Bestie, Jackie, in the house. And we're so excited for everybody to hear. Kaila and I always say Biz Besties for us is allowing people to hear the behind the scenes conversations that we have. And we have a daily chat going with Jackie, years and years of interconnectedness and friendship being built. And so now it's like a behind the scenes combo that us three have, which is really fun.
I'm so excited and welcome to all my listeners on the Wildly Wealthy Woman podcast because we are doing two podcasts at one time. I have wanted to have you guys on the podcast all year, and so we are going to throw in a few Q&As because I really want my people to know and love you guys the way I know and love you. And I know we started off before we hit record that we would share a bit of our story. So should we dive into how we know each other?
Yes. Okay. I think I can start in that I know I was following you, Jackie. I had been following you for a while on Instagram. I got introduced to tapping once years ago, and I thought it was so weird. I had taken a class of high school students to like a career day, and there was a woman there in like her 70s, and we went into a tapping circle with her. And I think because all the teenagers were like, "This is weird," I was like, "Yeah, it's weird." And then I came across your content, and I was like, "Doesn't seem so weird anymore. It seems like it works." Following you, and then we reached out to you for our first in-person big retreat that Kaila, you and I hosted at Sparkling Hill in 2022.
Yeah, when you suggested that we have Jackie as our speaker and she was going to do EFT tapping with everyone, I had never heard of it before and I didn't know what to expect. So I was like brand new to it in the room. I didn't even have the experience of being with the 70-year-old lady. So anyway, I'm in the room, and as soon as Jackie started tapping with everyone, I knew it was magic. I was so excited. And I remember I laughed through the whole thing, like not out loud, but I had this bubbly joyous feeling. And there was some laughing out loud because I'd never heard someone say, I have all these problems, I have all these problems, and I love and accept myself anyway. I was like, what? Yes, more of this. And so that really, it was love at first sight.
Oh my goodness. This is so fun to hear these stories because I actually never knew that about the 70-year-old woman and tapping with high school since I could just imagine myself in high school and someone taking
Oh,
me in a
yeah.
room to tap on my face and talk about my feelings. I would definitely think they're out to lunch. And I love that you gave it another shot. And I think that happens a lot with people in my world. They're like, I've even tried tapping before and it's just not my thing. So I found when you guys slid into my DMs, I was at a really interesting point in my personal life because people online had followed me. It was like a reality TV show at the time. Like I went from the single mom to like massive success, and at the time bought a house with my friend and business partner at the time. It did not go well. Like it ended not well. And I was at this moment of a lot of things shifting and feeling like this community that I was a part of that I built had just dissolved. It rocked my world, to be honest. I was like, whoa, where do I belong here? And then you guys popped into my life, and my philosophy is like release to receive. And you're like, yeah, we're doing this retreat at Sparkling Hill. And I'm like, oh, I live not far from there. Do you want to come? And when I walked into the room, I just immediately felt like home. Like, these are my people, and you two just have this energy to you in the spaces that you create that's so welcoming, which made it really easy to deliver because I was like, oh, I can tap with this crew. And from that moment on, it was like Business Besties was born. And I'm
Sure.
like, everyone in my community needs to know you guys, and like the things that you've helped me on, from mindset stuff to the system side of things. You really are this pair of the two best in the business in one, and I'm so grateful that we've been able to tap together and coach together because it's hugely impacted me this year. That's my side of the story.
I love you. I think about how, like, that, like Kayla saying that there was this bubbly, joyous feeling when you walked in, and I agree. And we got a selfie together, and it was just so like fun to meet in real life. And it just speaks volumes to how you truly left Kayla and I feeling, because
Mm.
then the next year we're like, okay, we're actually going to do this thing on the island. Jackie, do you want to come over to Vancouver Island for it? And then that went so well that we're like, okay, do you want to, we're doing a retreat again. Do you want to come back? And selfishly, it's yes, it'll be great for our clients, but it's also, it feels really good on our end to be like, woohoo, we're going to get to tap in person with you are the number one tapping mentor.
Thank you so much. And it's really when you know your people too, right? Like, I think that's one of the things I've done on Instagram in particular is really tried to speak to who my people are and who they're not, which makes it really easy to attract people like you because you're like, this is my girl versus the Nick Ortners of the world. They're great at tapping, but it's just a different style. So that's like my biz tip for the day. It's don't be afraid to be different, especially if you're in like a healing niche to be
Yeah.
different, because that's what freaked me out at the beginning is I was like, I don't want to teach tapping like everyone else does. And I thought that was going to get me like banned from some imaginary tapping police or something when it was the thing that really started to help me attract community people like you.
I do find that when you find someone who is a really good listener and who has gone where you want to go in business, that is a person that you want to, or people like that, surround yourself by and learn from because for me, it's your listening skills that are absolutely next level. That's what makes you incredible at tapping. And that's what makes me know that whomever you were to tap with, you could tap with Oprah and Oprah would have a shift.
Gosh,
I'm manifesting it right now.
I love this about you guys. You always hold the like I feel like I'm someone that holds a big vision for people and to meet friends in business that hold an even bigger vision. Like you've said that to me before. I remember being like, "What?" Like that
Oh
just
yeah.
now planted a vision in my mind. I'm like, "Okay, we're tapping with
Yes.
Oprah."
I am futuristic.
You know,
Okay.
I would love to hear from both of you is we're all in business. So Kayla and I are 5 years into this business. We've got backgrounds in other businesses. Jackie, I think you're 9 years into this particular business. It's not any of our first rodeos when it comes to being in business or the online space. And I know something that we hear a lot, and I know from talking to you, Jackie, you've heard this from your clients as well. Can you two speak to this like narrative that does exist? It's not either of yours, but a narrative that does exist out there that you can't be a good mom and grow your business because you're both living examples of being excellent moms and badass business owners. Like, I would love to hear you two riff on this for a minute.
I learn a lot from Jackie because her kid's older than mine, but I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're both girls and they're both watching me like hawks. Even if they weren't girls, I'm sure they'd be watching like hawks, but you should see. If I wear lip gloss, they're wearing lip gloss. If I like a color, they're wearing the color. And I do feel this pressure to set an example for them that is beyond what's normal because that's how I live. And I know that whatever I do and however I am, that's how they're going to see me. I know that my being is really what's being having an impression. But I do feel the pressure to do that. And I know that if I were to be anyone other than myself, or if I were to decide maybe a salary is a safer, easier path for me working for somebody else, that wouldn't be true to me. And I don't want them to have to show up and live and do something that's not true to them. I want to set them up so that when they're ready to go to whatever they do post-secondary or travel or whatever that looks like, they're interested also in maybe real estate investing, and they've been investing their dividends and their RESP since they were 3 months old. So they want to talk about dividends. Like, this is the example I want to set for my kids. If I weren't doing my own business and doing this as a lifestyle already, then it would be really hard to set that example. My dream is to have an apartment building with all three of us.
You know what?
Okay,
I have another dream very similar.
tell me
Oh my
yours.
gosh. I have a dream to create a wildly wealthy woman complex. So
Oh,
the bottom half is like women run businesses, right? So there's like
okay.
a spa and like a bookstore. And then
Oh,
above it would be rental
all
units.
right.
Ideally, this is just close to my heart, but like for single moms, because I was a single mom, that like when you enter the complex, it's like a vortex of you step into your wildly wealthy woman
Oh, I
zone.
have full
So
body chills.
Yeah. You have to get a big sign that says Wildly Wealthy Women Building or something.
It's gonna be called the Wildly Wealthy Women Plaza because I like have this
Okay, there you
vision.
go. The plaza.
The
Maybe you
20%.
can find it on a street that's like the number of the building is 1, 2, 3, 4 or 8, 8, 8, 8.
1111 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just second, like Kayla said, when I became a mom pregnant at 18, had my daughter at 19. And so I was at this very young moment in my life where the funny thing is I was so young, I didn't know what I
Mm,
didn't know.
mhm,
And so I was just, and this is how I've done everything with my life. I've just went into it and I'm going to figure this out. But the reason why I think I have been successful is because I allowed myself to have support. From having a daughter at a young age, I had my mom's support, which was huge, and her dad's parent support. So that I always allowed myself to be supported. And I learned that very early on that if you're going to be a woman in business and you're going to succeed, you have to let people help you because before, like there were moments where I had this sort of chip on my shoulder, like I'm going to prove it that I can do it myself. It's just really exhausting and hard, and you're not going to get anywhere. So that's the big first lesson as a mom. And also, it was how I was raised. So I was raised believing like the McDonald's were a certain type of way. The McDonald's were trailblazers, pioneers. We did things that other people didn't do. And when I had my daughter, my dad actually wanted me to take over his company. He had heli ski lodges, like backcountry heli ski, cat ski lodges. And he always said, ever since I was a little girl, you're going to run the businesses for me. And I always said right back to him, no, I'm going to run my own. And I didn't know that I would be running a tapping empire, but had Mira, had my own kind of health crisis, and then found tapping to heal my body, just realized I'm actually really good at this thing. And one of the things I wanted to do was be able to pick her up every day after school by the time she was 5 years old. And lo and behold, I did my first Facebook Live, I think the year before that, and looked like I was having an anxiety attack probably, but I was tapping about anxiety on Facebook while looking like I had an anxiety attack. But you know what? I showed up and I kept going and built an online community for free, a Facebook group where I tapped every Tuesday. And now looking back, Mira's 13 now, and she would tap with me on Tuesdays. It was the cutest videos you'll ever see. I have to pull them up from the history, but she'd be this little girl tapping with me and like doing manifestation jars. And I built it with her next to me. And I think that's a big part of why my brand did take off because I wasn't afraid to share the very raw and real, like in my basement that was unfinished. It wasn't glamorous by any means, but that story of how I raised her and built my business at the same time helped people really connect. And fast forward to today, she is such an incredible leader. She's captain of her volleyball team. I get comments all the time about her emotional like maturity when it comes to building a business. I did it with her and for me. It wasn't just, oh, I got to do this for her. It was also like, I'm doing this for the both of us so that the unconventional path is possible,
mhm,
whatever your path is. And so,
mhm.
very similar to Kaila, right? Like, I know that how I'm leading myself is how I lead her. And yeah, try to do the best by living by example and being real with what it's like in the background. Because some days it's a shit show. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. I did make a commitment when they were really little, like when Evie was first starting to talk and first starting to ask questions, that I was always just going to tell her the truth. And so we've always had an open, she's 4, but we've always had an open conversation about anything she asks questions about. So I'm open to doing that forever and always just telling her. Little kids are asking questions about ghosts and periods and money, and I'm over here answering them to the best of my ability. But oftentimes I don't know the actual answer. And I say I don't know the answer, and that's okay. I just think it's really important because I really feel them watching. They're learning everything from how we're being.
I'm curious for you, Nicole. I know becoming a mom is something that you're manifesting and creating. Do you have any like fears around becoming a mom and being in business, or what are your feelings about it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely know that some people's go-to is like wine or gambling or porn or these sorts of things. And
Mm.
mine is our business. It's like creating. I like doing podcasts. I like absorbing content and seeing like what's new and cutting edge. I like being with our clients. And there's definitely, I wouldn't say a fear, but a thing that I rationalize in my mind often of I can do both. And thankfully, having Kayla as a business partner, I can see that you can do both. And I didn't grow up with entrepreneurial parents or entrepreneurial family to even like to go further into aunts and uncles and stuff. Everybody had 9 to 5s or shift work. The way I was brought up was I saw my parents do work and leave work at work and then come home and then be fully my parent and then we're fully my parent. And never work wasn't really, if I think about my mom specifically, her work wasn't her passion that she talked about. She would then come home and do arts and crafts with me and be at my sports and those sorts of things. So I know, like, even just in my relationship with Jeff without kids, we every once in a while have to come to the table and remind ourselves, like, oh, we've got to talk about stuff other than work because we're two entrepreneurs. And it's really challenging to be like, what else am I passionate about? I follow Kat and Nat and Kat or however they go. When I saw them make a podcast about, one of them said, do you know we're supposed to have hobbies? I thought, wow, this resonates so much because my aligned purpose can be all consuming for me in terms of like my thoughts. And so it really is just like working through. I know that I can have a baby and be present with my baby and with my children, and work isn't going to fall off. Yeah, there's a little fear there of will I become irrelevant or will I be so exhausted? That's a fear running. Will I be too exhausted to ever do anything ever again? Because I really like my sleep. And I have to just know that people before me have done it, women beside me are doing it, and women will continue to do it. And I can also do that too.
I think one of your gifts, Nicole, has always been storytelling and really bringing people along for the ride. And I know that's not my line purpose isn't about motherhood necessarily, but I think that's one thing I did that worked really well in social media was being honest about, yeah, I'm in this launch and I'm having to take my child to all these things. And that means for me that I was often working, which now that I'm into all my hormone health right now is backfiring, but I was working after she'd go to bed at night. So
Yeah.
she'd go to bed and I would be like, game on, let's go. I built my business at night. Fast forward to being 32 and now it's you have high cortisol at night and low cortisol in the morning. And I'm like resetting that now. But I'm just sharing all that to say that's how it's worked for me is letting my life and the things that I'm experiencing be part of my business, which I think you do so well. And it actually will attract more people to you because they're like, she's like me.
Yeah, I hope for that to be true. And one thing I will say is the part of me that like wants to be a mom, which both of this, I like didn't want to be a mom always. That was something that happened like very abruptly when I turned 35. I didn't always want to be a mom, but I had and have, I think, the most amazing mom. Like growing up, all my friends were like, your mom's the best. And all my cousins were like, Aunt Charlene is the best. Like my mom is amazing. And so I'm just like, if I can be anything like my mom, then I'll be. She wasn't building a business, but she is a fucking excellent mom. So I'm like, I'm really good at building a business and I've got friends beside me, you two, who are like excellent moms, and my mom's an excellent mom. And I'm like, okay, it's all possible.
Yeah, my Nana
100%.
always says every love always expands, and whatever you love and you introduce more things you love, it always expands. And she's had 7 kids, and there's 20 something grandkids and great grandkids now. And she's every time another one of you has a baby, I just love them more and more, and there's always more. And so we can think of babies and business and life and all these things the way Nana thinks about having more grandkids. Well, I love you more. There's always more love. There's always more.
One of the things I told Mira really early on, because I actually have a family member who has a parent that was really entrepreneurial. And I remember as a kid, she would resent her mom for working so much. So
Mm,
subconsciously, that was one of my fears was like, I
there's
don't
a
want my
story.
child. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was like, I don't want my child to resent my business.
Mm.
So very early on, thank goodness I had tapping, I tapped on it. And I raised Mira believing that my business was a good thing, that
Mm.
my business creates freedom, that my business has brought so many amazing people into our life, that business is fun. And it's so funny that she's a teenager now because now all of her friends follow me on TikTok or Instagram and they think it is the coolest thing. She's so proud of what I created. And I remember one of my other business besties saying to me, she's like, Jackie, your mindset around business and kids. And I truly believe that. Like this business is the best thing to ever happen to us because I can pick you up from school every day. We get to go on fun trips. So she was raised believing that my business was a good thing. And that I think was a game changer
Mm.
for.
This is making me think we're all like such big lovers of belief shifting and building new beliefs and positive beliefs and uplifting beliefs and that sort of thing. Jackie, for everybody who's listening on our side or even new listeners to your show, like how does tapping actually work to build new beliefs and instill them so that they actually feel true for us? How's tapping making that happen?
Yeah. So if you guys have ever tapped with me before, you know that tapping is a somatic experience. So it means somatic means it's in the body. And if we want to build a new belief, like we were talking about one today that I am rich, or you're talking about the I am rich identity. And I asked you guys to say that. Like, how do you say the words, I am rich? How do you feel in your body when you say that? And that's one of the things that tapping is a bit different than something like affirmations or scripting. It's involving what's going on somatically. So if you're say something like, I am rich, and you're like, I don't really feel much when I say that, or yeah, I am, but I'm not like wildly wealthy or like rich
Mhm.
AF, we can use the body as a mechanism to guide us to the belief that you want. So when we're tapping, it's even though I want to believe that I am rich AF or wildly wealthy, there's a little part of me that doesn't believe that yet. And that's okay. I love and accept myself anyway. So the tapping is helping the body feel, we're soothing the nervous system. We're tapping into the subconscious because the subconscious will start telling you're not rich yet because X, Y, and Z. It's a really fast way of getting to know what's going on subconsciously and then walking towards that belief that you want. So instead of just saying, I am rich, it's even though I'm becoming rich or even though I'm becoming wildly wealthy, I love and accept myself anyway. And hopefully I'm explaining this the right way. What was your question? How does it work?
Yeah, how would you say that? Because I get so excited for the days that we're going to tap, and I love live tapping. Like reading a script and doing it on my own is just not as fun as like live tapping through it. How does live tapping or how does tapping support anchoring a new belief?
Teaches the body what it feels like for that to be true. And we know that in manifestation, you have to feel it happening for it to be done. So I think
Mhm.
that's the quickest way to explain it is when we're, especially in my style of tapping, it's like we're tapping into who you're becoming and what you want to be true. And once the body can feel that, you're like, holy moly, like I experienced it, it's a done deal. It manifests so quickly. I think that's the quickest answer to it. I would say what's different about my style of tapping is my method is release to receive. Traditional tapping is very focused on the releasing, like trauma, PTSD, addiction, fears of flying, phobias. That's mainly what it's known for, which is phenomenal. But I got to the point in my own tapping where I had done a lot of the trauma work and I was like, maybe I could use it to manifest some stuff. And I started setting goals like, I want to go on 5 trips. And I manifested all these trips. And then I want a house in the lake and I got a house in the lake. And that's where I cracked this code with tapping. I was like, oh, it's not just a release tool. It can teach your body how to experience what you want before it's happened. And the manifestation is so much quicker.
Oh, I love that. Okay, you know what? Since we all know that storytelling is like the best and people love listening to stories, and we're all lovers of manifestation, maybe this can lead itself into each of us sharing what is something that we've manifested and what is the story behind that so that people can hear that A, manifestation is real and it can present itself in all different ways. And I'm curious if either of you have a story right away that you're like, this is one of the coolest or most fun or amazing things I've manifested, and what's the story behind it?
Oh, cool. I feel like you should kick us off. You kick us off with what you've manifested that you're
I
most
mean,
excited about.
manifested many things that I'm really happy about, but one of the ones that I guess like really stands out because it was in the beginning when I really was like, I want to talk about this stuff. Like I had been reading it and like on my own island learning about manifesting. And I used to be a teacher, and so I would like talk about manifesting here and there, but I wasn't in the right environment to be talking about all the time. Then the 2018 holiday year going into 2019 new year, I am going to openly talk about my love of manifesting on social media. I didn't have a business. I didn't have a business Instagram. I just had my few little friends and family members and followers. And I said, okay, I'm making this affirmation for myself. And it's going to be, I am a master attractor. I attract the people, places, experiences, and things that I desire. This is 2018 me. I set it in motion. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick something and see if I can actually manifest it. So I focused on trips. I had this Bristol board kind of paper. I made my like brainstorm of what I wanted to manifest for the year. I was pretty open about these trips. I was just like, I want to see if I can manifest trips. And what ended up happening immediately after that was a girl that I was waitressing with. She said to me, hey, did you know that there's this Wanderlust event happening, like a arm of it called Wellspring in Palm Springs? We should go. And we were like, we're waitresses and I didn't have tons of money and I lived in Victoria and I was also teaching on the side. And I was like, I can't just fly to Palm Springs. I don't have that. I don't have that kind of money. There was a belief that played out that I heard a lot growing up. So I was like, I can't afford that. And then all of a sudden she comes back around. She's like, I have scholarships. We should apply. I was like, okay. So we applied and I got it. And then I tell my mom, I'm going to Palm Springs. I've never been. I got this scholarship. It's amazing. And my mom had never offered this before on all of the flights that I had ever had to take in my life, but she was like, yeah, I've got all these air miles or whatever it was back then that I needed. She was like, why don't I get your flight for you? I was like, okay. So then I'm talking about this, and a girl that I used to work with at Lululemon, I'm telling her about how I'm going to Palm Springs and it's all paid for. And now I just need to figure out where to stay. And she said, my mom has 2 timeshares in Palm Springs. I bet you she'll let you stay at one for free. So me and my friend that I waitressed with got to go down. My flights were free. My accommodation was free. My ticket was free. And it was such an incredible event, like incredible big name speakers. Russell Brand was one of the keynotes there. It was just like, it was life changing for me that weekend. And so that was in September, October. And then shortly after that, this publishing company that I had written my book with and I was doing some online work with, he had called me and said, hey, we're going to take this international for the first time ever. We're going to go to Hawaii. I would love if I could fly you down and you'll coach with us for the week. Everything's on me. Your flights, your accommodation, your food, I'll pay you. I was like, what is happening? Then my sister said, Mom and Dad, instead of coming out to Seattle to visit me or us going home to Nova Scotia, Mom and Dad and I were talking and they want to know if we want to go to Arizona. And again, like I wasn't in a financial place to afford going on a trip. I'm like working all these part-time jobs, waitressing, yoga, all the things. And I was like, I don't know, I can't afford it. And my sister was like, we already paid for the Airbnb and I booked your flight. So it's on us. Come. So this is the third trip. So it was like September, October, Hawaii was in March, Arizona was in April. And then one of my best friends, Julie, reached out to me and she was like, this is crazy, but Trevor Hall is playing at Red Rocks in Colorado and I've never been. And I bought 2 tickets just hoping that you might want to come. And I was like, yes. I will go to Red Rocks in Colorado. And so then that trip wasn't paid for, but the ticket to Trevor Hall was paid for, which was like the catalyst to going. So within the 8-month period of really going all in and saying, I'm going to make trips the thing I manifest, I know that because it's where my focus and attention and energy was, that's what expanded. And while I've manifested many amazing things over the years, like going to Ellen and getting to give her my book and meeting Jeff and all these sorts of things, that was the kickstart to me being like, I don't care if any of y'all think manifesting is crazy. I know it works. For me, it's working.
Talk about being in a complete state of flow, right? And we know when we're in those zones. I know when I'm in that zone, it's just you have a thought, you want to do a thing, it appears almost instantly. And that is still your process today, correct? You still do this today.
Yes, I love manifesting. Absolutely. Kayla and I, we're business coaches, and we love bringing in all the, we say, woo, manifesting mindset. It's all intertwined. And I will say to our clients, like when they're like, I followed all the systems, I've done all the things to launch or do a funnel or build the whatever. I'm like, yeah, but are you doing the mindset work to manifest it, to call it in? Or are you like a hard energetic block to the thing you're saying you want right now? So
Mm.
yeah, I'm still such a lover of it, but I want to hear from you too. What is something that you've manifested? Oh,
One more question for you, Nicole, because Number one, what are you manifesting next?
Hmm.
And what's the process that you're doing to create that?
Okay, the thing that I'm manifesting next is a podcast that essentially is a new age talk show. I used to want to be the next Oprah, and while nobody can replace Oprah, that is for damn sure, I don't want to leave my home. I want to have all of the lighting, microphones, things here, and like a full on production system happening here. And I want to be doing just this, like what we're doing right now, and have it in the ears of and eyes, turn it into a video, ears and eyes of millions of people, knowing that one story can change your life. So if this could be the part or arm of my line purpose where I feel like I get to spend a lot of my time and shine is in deep, meaningful conversations that can be recorded for other people to hear and learn from. That's like the big, huge manifestation.
Oh my gosh, I love that. What is the process for you to, what's like your manifesting process?
Ooh, that's a good question because I feel like I have so many and I do so many things, but the biggest one for me is journaling. Like if I can just
Mhm.
start writing, because while I'm writing, I don't allow myself to be distracted. I go on D&D. Sometimes I'll have like soft music on it in the background, but when I'm writing, also my brain is like creating an image that's a movie as well. And once I can get into the flow, sometimes it's sticky. Sometimes I have to write like what I did last night or what I'm doing today or what's going on in my family. And then I can start to drop and be like, and what do I really want? And then get into the like dreaming up of if anything were possible and there were no limitations. And I have no timeline on this. I trust that it will all happen because I can see. I think you know what? Actually, that's the biggest part of my manifestation process that I think works for me is I always have faith that if I can see it, it will happen. My manifestation process has a lot to do with like faith and belief of if I can see this, if I know I really want this, I'm going to be able to have it.
That's it. It's simple, but to discipline yourself to sit down and do it is the thing.
Yeah.
Kaila, I'm curious, what's your favorite manifesting story? And then what are you manifesting next?
Okay. In 2023, at the beginning of the year, Nicole and I set a goal to cross $1 million in our business. And we knew that we wanted that to happen. And we were working with a VA company, an agency type of thing. And while that didn't quite work out, the planning process of working with them was really great. She walked us through, and in human design, I'm a specific manifester, so I need to know exactly how it's all going to come together and then be in the flow for how it literally does. But in the moment of manifesting, I need to know this, then this, and this is what equals this, and that's what it's going to look like, and here's how it's going to feel. We mapped out crossing $1 million. And then we put that to the side and got to work. And I don't know if anyone listening can relate to this, but this winter time in online business, everyone's hibernating and inside and doing their thing, and then it opens up more in spring and we get more people in the door. So springtime starts to happen. People are coming in the door and we're working with more and more aligned clients. And we had this brainwave. I can't even remember where the brainwave came from to look up going to Abraham Hicks. Probably because almost every morning Nicole sends me her Abraham Rampage that she's listening to. And I had Abraham on the brain and I thought, I want to see her live. And I actually got my vision board up out of my binder when you asked this, that's in front of me, and Abraham's here. So we wanted to see Abraham and we thought, okay, we'll just book it. And we looked and Abraham was going to be in Phoenix in November. And I don't know that we booked the Abraham experience specifically around the $1 million goal in that moment. I can't exactly remember, but we really wanted to see her and see Esther channeling. So we booked it, and then it basically, the manifestation all started to be in flow from there. We booked that, we booked the place to stay in Phoenix, we booked the place to go for a hike in Sedona. We mapped out our trip, and then we knew based on my specificness of the spreadsheet that we would cross $1 million. And then once that's all in motion, we actually crossed $1 million in the business in September. And Abraham was already booked and Arizona was already booked. So when we got there, we were celebrating and we started celebrating in September and celebrated all the way through. That was a fun manifestation.
That is like every entrepreneur's dream.
Yes,
Manifestation.
that kicked off the whole theory of ours that, and we used to do this on a smaller scale, but if you're celebrating a huge manifestation coming to life, before it comes to life, and here's my business tip, book your trip and book the restaurant reservation and book a massage and book all the things you're going to do to celebrate. Because regardless of if that exact thing comes into the 3D, all of the work that you've been doing between when you decided that's what you're going to manifest moving forward needs to be celebrated. So it's always fun. What
It's
is
already
yours?
done. What is your process for manifesting? I know Nicole mentioned she's like journaling and like really getting into the feeling. What's your process for that?
My process is when I have time alone to think things up and let my mind wander. I get the download and then I need it visually. I'm not really a writer. Sometimes I write, and I actually did the 40-day abundance plan by John Randolph Pierce, I want to say his name is. And I did that 40 days straight, and I am thinking I'll get back into it in December. And so that helps me like write and think about things. But when I'm truly manifesting, it comes to me as a download when I'm not busy doing other things and just going about my day. And then when I have it visually in front of me and I make a bit of a plan around what it could look like, then it's already all happening.
It's a
Like
done
on the
deal.
other side of my vision board, I have what I want my house to look like. And I didn't realize that this exact living room situation is on my vision board. And it's pretty much what our living room is looking like in this brand new house we only moved into a week ago. I just have to see it and then I can release and know what's happening.
That's so cool because everyone's process is different. So I'm so curious. And then what is the thing you're manifesting next?
Okay. Next, I'm manifesting crossing 1 million in 12 months in our business. And we have been manifesting this for a while and having that intention out there. And we have all of the pieces in place so that we can do that. And we're within the process right now. So we're in the year that we're going to cross 1 million in a year. And some huge things are coming to light in the new year in 2025 and then in the spring. And we're orchestrating them all behind the scenes right now. Amazing things are happening, and I can't wait to share them with everyone and to see how you can see our manifestation process in motion by all of the wild action we're taking to make that happen.
And I know because you two have such a supportive community, I'm wondering if there's anything the community can do to support your manifestations.
Tell your friends to join Align CEO Method.
Yeah.
Yeah, refer your friends for Align CEO and then come to our event in April. We're going to have the tickets for sale first week of December. Come to the event, prioritize being there, be in the room. We have incredible speakers. And that weekend, we're doing a big reveal of something that we've been working on as well. So the weekend of April 25th, be in Victoria, be at our event, make it happen. And that would be so supportive of us, but also, as always, really supportive of your growth as well.
Yeah, as someone who's been in your rooms, get in the room. I'm someone that's pretty highly sensitive, so being in rooms can be like, I want to be there and I don't want to be there, but your room is one of the rooms that I'm most comfortable in and just feels like I can totally be myself. I don't have to wear a mask. Not that I purposely wear a mask, but sometimes,
Yeah.
I'm intimidated by these people. No, it's like a sisterhood in the best possible way. So if you guys haven't been to Kaila and Nicole's event, you need to go. Like seriously, go in person. And you guys do create that sisterhood because people come back every single year. So
It's
from
really fun.
personal experience, that's my shout out.
Thank you. Okay, tell us what you have manifested previously. That's your fun manifestation.
Gosh, there's a couple stories. I'm gonna just shoot a few quick ones. So when Mira was like, I don't know, really little, I want to say 7 or under, I took her to Gabby Bernstein to go to the Universe Has Your Back book launch in Vancouver. So I drove from 6 hours away to get to Vancouver, and we're getting into the Lower Mainland. And my dad had just passed away shortly before that. As we're driving in, all of a sudden, I have never seen so many crows in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
The entire sky is filled with crows or ravens. I don't know what they were. It was like creepy. But how it happened is we were driving and I was on the freeway, gonna go right to the event. And Mira was like, Mommy, I don't feel good. And I was like, You're fine. I thought she just wanted to get out of the vehicle because we were driving. I'm like, You're fine. She's like, No, I really don't feel good. I feel like I'm sick. So I had to pull off the freeway. And when I pulled off, there was a sky full of ravens. It was crazy. And I remember my aunt telling me when my dad did pass, when we were at the hospital, she said ravens, because our family has a lot of like indigenous heritage, that ravens are the other side coming to take them. And it's like a
Ooh.
sign of transition. And I was like, okay, so I feel like this is a sign from my dad. That whole trip was just wild. So we go to Gabby Bernstein, and Mira wasn't feeling good, so I'd given her Tylenol. And it's in this beautiful auditorium in Vancouver, and all these people are there. And Gabby's like quite glamorous. Everyone's glammed up. And I'm sitting with Mira, and my cousin came with me. I kid you, not even 10 minutes in, she power pukes all over me. And I was like, oh my, and did not stop. So people are like looking at me out of nowhere. Someone comes with all these paper towels, and I'm like, oh my God. So obviously we get out of the auditorium, and I'm like, is she going to be okay? No, keeps throwing up. So I'm like walking downtown Vancouver with her in my arms, and my cousin just soaked, all of us soaked. And I'm like, this is unfortunate because I really wanted to meet Gabby Bernstein, but not like this. So I'm bummed out. So you go to my aunt's. My aunt lives in North Vancouver. And at the time, my aunt, she was like neighbors with Jimmy Pattison, like in this really fancy neighborhood. And I was like this single mom that I just bought a house. So like I had a house, but I was really struggling. Like I just barely making ends meet. And disappointed because I didn't get to see Gabby Bernstein and go to my aunt's, get cleaned up. And the next day, my aunt's, and I'm reading The Universe Has Your Back at the time, right? So I'm like, hey, universe, have my back. And I'm like, really
Now's
want
the time, universe. Okay.
Feel like you have my
to.
back right now.
Yeah, I was really hoping. So I don't end up meeting Gabby, but the next day I wake up and my aunt was like, I want to give you a gift. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's, I'm going to take you shopping downtown Vancouver, and we're going to completely set up your new house. And
Ooh.
she, from top to bottom, I still to this day have the things she bought me, bought every single thing I needed for that house. Cutlery, mirrors, bedding, tables, to nice places too. It was like Pottery Barn that she took us. And anything I wanted,
So
my cousin said.
nice.
I was like, I remember just being blown away. Holy smokes, the universe has my back. So my vehicle's loaded with all this stuff, and I'm driving back home. And I get to Chilliwack, and my other aunt lived there. And I get to Chilliwack, and my vehicle starts making this weird sound. And I'm like, I knew that probably time to get a new one. You're like a single mom, and you're just like, please, just hold it together. And so we get to Chilliwack, but my other aunt happened to live there. So we go to my other aunt's, and my uncle's a mechanic, and he looks at it and he's, yeah, honestly, like your transmission's done. And I think you need a new vehicle. Just so happens that my aunt sells vehicles, and she ends up like hooking me up with a brand new vehicle. Like all the things that had to happen behind the scenes. Like I wasn't making a lot of money, but I had really good credit, and they didn't think they were going to have the vehicle in. And then the last minute, the vehicle came in. And so I drove home from the universe as your back with a brand new vehicle stuffed full of a house full of brand new stuff. And Mira and I got to get home, and it was like the funnest day, unpacking the car, setting up our new house. And then so many other things unfolded from there. But that's just one of my favorite manifesting stories. Because if you do know a single mom doing something, you don't have to buy her whole house full of stuff, but it's like it could bring tears to my eyes how much that meant to me and stuck with me forever. So that's one of my favorite manifesting stories. Other things my favorite thing I've manifested, obviously Devin, like my partner, he showed up on Valentine's Day almost 4 years ago.
Fun. Okay, tell
Yeah.
us that story. I haven't heard that story.
Yeah, we were friends in high school. We always had a connection and like really liked each other, but the timing never lined up, right? We liked each other, but he was dating someone else. And then so I would get with someone else and he would break up with them. And it never went in sync. And I've had a dream when I was 17 that we got married. And I was like, that's so weird. Why would I dream that? And
Okay.
so fast forward, I have Mira with somebody else, and there's a few things that happened. Like he was really protective of Mira and I, and didn't always agree with Mira's dad's behavior. And so he like confronted him about it one day. And there was always like, he always cared about us. And so when I broke up with Mira's dad, he happened to be in Revelstoke, which is where I was living at the time. And because he had hurt his finger at work, and he was home visiting his mom, and he helped me move a bunch of Taylor's stuff out. And anyway, like he always showed up in my life at these times that I needed him, and we always had this connection, but again, wasn't the right timing. So fast forward like 4 years ago, he knew that I had moved to Kelowna, and he was following me on Instagram, obviously. And he had just broken up with someone. I was single. And I have to come to Kelowna to get tires for my truck. And he's, can I come see you? And I was like, sure, but I'm doing like Galentine's Day. Like we have chick flicks and we ordered food. So like you have to come and do Galentine's Day because like you're a boy, but you're not messing with it.
Yeah.
And so he comes over, and like the minute the door opens and he walks in, I just can't stop smiling. We have really strong energy. And my friends were like, what the heck is going on? They were like, the energy in the room was insane. We just picked up right where we left off. He was going through a breakup, and I was just like there for him, like being a friend. We started talking every day, and then he started driving every weekend back to Kelowna to come and see me. And I was like, okay, but I was in the zone of not sleeping with you. Like, we're just going to be friends. That's what we're supposed to be. And then I needed another vehicle because my vehicle was done, needed to upgrade. I always wanted to buy a Chevy Silverado. That's my dream
Okay,
truck.
wait a second. Maybe your vehicle not working is the portal to your next manifestation always. Okay, go ahead. This is what
So
seems to be happening. Okay.
it does. And so the funny, like my dream truck is a Chevy Silverado, always wanted one. And he is a Chevy guy. So I say to him, I need to get a new vehicle. And he like found me the best deal with the best truck. And it was close to where he lived. He lived in Roslyn, so it was close to there. And he's organized the whole thing. I go there with Mira and buy the truck. And then and I stayed at his house, but again, we're just friends. And that night we're outside and it's like snowing like crazy. It's so beautiful. And we're under the stars, and he just looks at me and there's so much I've wanted to say to you my entire life. I can't even put it into words. I wish I could just write it in a letter. I was like, oh God.
I feel like we're getting married. Okay, great.
Oh my gosh, my heart was, I was like, me too. And then we kissed, and then he was just like, no matter what happens, no matter what, you've always got me. I will always have you and Mira's back, like anything you ever need. And then the rest is history. Those are my favorite manifesting stories.
Oh, that's the cutest story ever. And I also looked
Oh,
up your Chevy Silverado and it looks very large.
it's
So I don't know.
huge. It's
Do you have one of
because
those?
yeah, I have one. He has one because I live where it's like
Yeah.
mountain terrain, right? It's snow. So you need big trucks so that you're safe. And I got my dream truck and my dream man.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that. And what are you manifesting next?
Well, I was working with this on you ladies on our last session, and I feel like I'm in this big comeback season because I went through this time of making a lot of money in my business and then feeling like the way I made it, it worked, but it didn't feel super, I don't know what the words are. Like it wasn't led by me. Like I just followed everyone else's rules and it worked, but it never felt like it came easy or yeah, it didn't feel really secure. So the past few years, I've been letting go of a lot of people and learning to trust myself more. And I feel like I'm on this really powerful, what we call like the comeback season. And so my vision for this time next year is that I have rebuilt my business, which I'm already doing right now, but it's completed. All the behind the scenes nitty gritty tech pieces are automated, done, and flowing. That is a sales system that doesn't require me to show up every day in order for it to work.
We do not need to be on 24/7 to have a
No,
success.
I don't have like I have great reoccurring revenue right now, but I want that tripled so that I can have
Yeah.
even more of the things I want. So that's one of the very specific things is like the experience I want to have, which is like me sitting at my desk and having so much more freedom and fun and the creative part. Because it's funny you said it, Nicole. Last night I was doing so my practice for manifesting is tapping and journaling at the same time
Mm.
and tapping into my wildly wealthy woman. So I like do the process of closing my eyes and asking myself, what path are you on? Are you on the path of struggle today? Or are you on your path of the wildly wealthy woman? And every day I make sure I'm on my wildly wealthy woman path. And when I tapped into her last night, what I saw was a beautiful studio with where I can like get glammed up because I love to get glammed up, doing interviews with people through the podcast.
Mhm.
And I could see the people, you guys were there. There's 5 or 6 other people and their names. And that's the next phase of this is creating more experiences And I don't know if you guys have ever done your money archetypes. Have you ever done that from, oh my gosh, you guys, okay, Google money archetypes. I think her name's Danielle something, but I'm a romantic money archetype, and romantics creating experience is really important. So tapping is an experience. So that's one of the reasons why that works so well for me. So there's a nurturer, a romantic, a celebrity, a connector, alchemist. I think there's three more. An accumulator. I think my guess is Kaila, you're probably an accumulator. My guess is Nicole, you might be a romantic, maybe alchemist, but you have three of them.
Mm.
And so my top one is romantic. My second one is ruler, which is like an empire builder. And then the third one for me is celebrity. So celebrities love things looking really aesthetic. Romantics love the experience. Like romantics spend money easily because we're like especially on experiences. And rulers are empire builders. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm creating from that space. And yeah, my process is tapping in front of a mirror with a journal, because the mirror piece, I will catch myself if I go to my phone, I have to like, I'll see myself in the mirror staring at my phone. So I'm like, okay, put that aside. And then I do my own version of wonder walks. So if you've heard Jen Gottlieb talk about wonder walks, where she like goes and talks to herself while she walks, I do that. And I use the Superhuman app. Do you guys use Superhuman?
No.
I have had it. I had the free instead of it being like meditations, it's like while you're cleaning or while you're cooking. It's you don't have to be sitting silent to do a meditation. You get to be living and clearing your head.
I'll show it to you. It's so cool. If you guys are on video, I don't know if we'll put this on video, but it's orange with a white circle, and they added a bunch of new ones. So they have manifestation ones.
Yeah, they have like your $50,000 month one. Yeah.
Yeah, they have
Oh.
seated walking, targeted visualizations, anytime, getting ready, workouts, cleaning, writing, traveling, cooking, just music,
I saw a
mirror,
whole
Aaron.
bunch of like people who are in the Arbonne world sharing this. Do you have a code, Jackie?
No, I've applied for one. I haven't got it yet. So if I get it in time, I will send it over to you guys.
Because I know everybody's going to go look at the Superhuman app after this. So maybe just message Jackie and see if she's got a
Yeah.
code, because we all deserve to be paid for the knowledge we have. And this is great knowledge.
Yeah.
And the quiz is Denise Duffield Thomas.
Yeah, so Denise Duffield Thomas she's a good version of it, but there was a different woman that created it before her. So she shares
Oh.
that. I know I didn't create this, but Denise has a really good marketed brand of it. She does like marketing according to your money archetypes, and client attraction according to your money archetypes. I have her program. It's really good.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fun. Okay, cool.
You know what? I want to ask you both because it's a trending thing on TikTok right now. I've seen a couple people do it on Instagram, but there's this trend on TikTok where it's here's what I would say if I wasn't afraid of hurting your feelings. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
business owners being like, here's what I would really say to you. Or no, it's not all business owners. On TikTok, it's women saying to other women, it's like, here's what I would really say. Here's what I really want to say if I wasn't afraid to like hurt your feelings or offend you. And I'm so curious when I actually have a couple like written down on my phone. I'm like gathering them as they come to my mind. I'm like, okay, so when I come to do my reel on this, of here's what I really want to say if I wasn't afraid of hurting your feelings, but I'm a people pleaser, so I'm working on it, being afraid of hurting your feelings. But I could kick us off, but then I'm so curious to hear from both of you too.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you going to be like, Kayla, here's what I would say to you if I wasn't afraid of hurting your feelings?
No.
What's happening?
No, I mean, well,
Okay.
maybe your feelings will get hurt if you take this on personally, but it's not personal to you. I'm saying, as a business owner, here's what I want to say to the women who are like, I want to have a business, but then make all these.
Yes, I have something
Okay.
immediately. Okay, go ahead.
So the thing that I want to say that I think it could offend people or maybe upset them, but it is my truth, is that you're not putting your own like true self-care, meditation, mindset, whatever practices first. You think it doesn't work. You think it's too woo. You think you need the systems. You think you don't have time for that. And I do truly believe that all the people who are like, yeah, I've tried meditating, it doesn't work for me. I've tried tapping, it doesn't work for me. I've tried breath work, it doesn't work for me. You're not a special snowflake, and you have to carve out time for yourself every single day, the same way you would go lift weights at the gym or brush your teeth or drink water to flex your mindset so you can be resilient and be boundaried and be strong, because we can't be meek, weak women trying to run businesses. We have to be mentally strong. And I think there's too many people out there making that excuse. And another thing I would say, if I wasn't afraid of hurting people's feelings, is you're too emotionally attached to the short-term result. If people stopped getting so fixated on, I'm launching today and in 3 weeks I need this number, and then they don't get it and they're so emotionally attached to that, you could have such incredible results 5 weeks from now if you weren't like so down a like negative spiral mindset of what just didn't happen. This is starting my little list of things I want to say if I wasn't afraid of hurting people's feelings.
Amen. Preach to that. I praise emoji hands too, because I agree with everything.
Okay. Okay, what do you two really want to say to people? Let's go on the theme of people who like want to start businesses or do start businesses, and but they've got the excuses. What do you want to say?
I want to say that nobody owes you anything. So if your thing is not solving someone's problem, they're not going to buy it. If it's not immediate enough, or if it's not the exact solution, they're going to say no, and they don't owe you saying yes. So if you're upset about that, you need to change how you're being. You need to change your offer. You need to show up and do something differently instead of being super upset about how your product is not selling. Change the product. Like, we can't make business out of thin air. It has to solve the problem. And there's so many people who I come across in coaching who are doing it so well, who are like, I need to pivot this thing. I'm going to add this. I'm going to take this away. I'm going to coach you one-on-one in this container if that's what you really want. They're willing to do what it takes to build their reputation and their community and contribute and give back and do the work it takes to make a business amazing. And then there are some people, sometimes it happens, where they get in a rut in their mindset, and it's all mindset, about how whatever they've created is the best thing ever. And they don't understand why no one's buying it, and how, and it becomes about the people who aren't buying instead of about them making their offer better. So I want to say, got to sharpen your offer, make sure it's solving that problem.
Again, praise hands emoji. These are gold. I would say there's a couple things I would say, but number one, it takes time. So business takes time, and the seeds that you're planting today are going to harvest probably in the spring or a year from now. We were talking about this earlier today. Like the people that came to our free trainings 2 years ago are buying now.
Yeah,
So
we're prepping
don't,
for 2028.
yeah, like we're promoting to people now that will buy in 2028. So don't get your panties in a knot. Sorry, but honestly, if people aren't instantly buying, it's because they need time to watch you, which leads me to show the F up every day. If you are complaining that you don't have sales and you are not showing up and selling every day, and a great way to do this is to track your sales, have a sales tracker, then yeah, sorry, but welcome to the club. Like all of us have to do it. Doesn't matter what level you're at. I just heard a great interview with Lori Harder and Jeff Finster, and he's multiple, like three multi-million dollar businesses. And every single Friday, what he does is reach out to places that he wants to be. He reaches out to airports because he wants his brand in airports. And every single Friday he's called for 2 years to try to get it in. And every single Friday they say, Jeff, we don't hear the call, but it's still a no. Like we'll follow up in September. He's every Friday I call. And even if they say no, they know I'm calling, and he knows he's going to get his brand inside airports because of that. Yeah, that's what I would really want to say. It's you have to show up every day. And the thing I would say to healers in particular, it's one thing to be really good at your skill, like really good at whatever your modality is. It's a whole other thing to be a good marketer. So you have to learn the skill of sales and marketing, and that's going to take time, right? Like it took time for me to become a good tapping practitioner, minimum 2 years, in my opinion, to get your hours in, to get good at it. But it's going to take time for you to get good at marketing. So if you're like, I posted on Instagram for a month and did a challenge and it didn't work, yeah, it takes more than that. So welcome to the club. It's an initiation. Sometimes it sucks, but believe me, it pays off. And that's what I would really say.
I love this all so much. Praise in hearing you say like a great way to do that is a sales tracker. Kaila and I provide Align CEO Method clients with a sales tracker, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people who are like, I just don't do it. I can't, I haven't filled it out. I've been tardy. I don't look at the sales tracker. I don't track my sales or my leads. You can lead a horse to water. We're like, here's how you do it. Here's the sales tracker. Here's how you track the sales. Here's how you track the leads. I literally can't go into your business and do it for you. I could, but I won't. And it's just crazy to me how there are people out there who say they want something, but then they don't do the action to support what it is that they're saying.
Yeah.
And you and I are doing this challenge right now. We're
Yeah.
reaching out to 5 people a day, voice messaging them on Instagram. And the mistake people make is they start getting sales and they stop doing these things. It doesn't matter what level you're at. These
Yes.
are the things that work.
Our first coach, Fabienne, she said, always be marketing. When your business crosses 1 million and then it crosses 10 million and it crosses 20 million, don't put your foot on the brake. Always be marketing, which then I think all three of us would also include it to that is always be selling.
And every day.
Mhm.
Oh, so good. Kayla, were you going to say something to that?
Yeah, I had this breakthrough recently that somewhere along the line, I got this story in my head that if people don't convert after 3 or 4 touch points to a sale, I'm doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. And I think that's from the online fad of evergreen sales are just going to happen. And so looking in the business and seeing how many touch points people have had before they convert and then figuring out how you can crunch that down. That was a whole thing, like maybe in 22, 23 of marketing from other coaches marketing to us. And somehow I took that on and have been feeling bad about how people take a few touch points before they say yes. And this is not all people. Some people are a hell yes right away. Some people take 4 years, and the majority of our people take 3 to 4 touch points. So I had it in my head that I was like trying to get that down. But actually, the other week, Nicole and I, she was probably coaching me on mindset, or I was at an Aligned CEO call listening and learning as I do whenever Nicole's doing mindset work with us. And I just released that feeling that I'm not doing it right, or I could do it better or faster or whatever. It's, of course, we can always improve. But like you said, Jackie, people sometimes need time. We're not in charge of the other person's yes. We're only in charge of how we show up and deliver. And that's it. So the more we show up, the more incredible our offer is, the more we're giving, we're serving, we're helping people, the more people are going to say yes. And if it takes them a hot minute to decide, then it takes some time. Okay, what were you going to say?
Yeah, and consistency is king in that too. I was in Dan Martell's world for a minute, and if you are not doing your daily 5 non-negotiables, one of those
Mhm.
things is your sales tracker posting every day, and you ask a coaching question, he will not answer it.
Mhm.
He goes and checks, are you doing your daily 5? And if you aren't, then he's, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer your question until you're doing these things. Because if you're not doing these things, they won't work.
Yeah, and we encourage with our clients. We just had actually a call with somebody to see if she was going to be a good fit for our program, and she was asking questions, and she was like, "So there's no one-to-one coaching calls?" And we were like, "Well, you can get one-to-one coaching from us in a group context. You can ask your question, and we'll answer it, and the group is all going to hear and benefit from it. And then there's also time to go into a private Zoom room with us, but." No, we want to scale our business. And so, in order to scale our business, we can't sit down with 50 clients every month and offer one-to-one calls. And we like to role model to people that you can also grow a scalable business and you don't have to be tied one-to-one. And that just goes to show that if you have a question that you think can only be answered one-to-one, especially in a business coaching program, we're not like doing like intimate, deep relationship, that sort of coaching where maybe, yeah, it needs to be a bit more privatized, but we're talking business coaching. And so if you're going to ask us a question in the DMs that you want to be private, I guarantee you it would be more beneficial to bring that and say, hey, I filled out the sales tracker, I filled out the weekly tracker, and I'm still having an issue with this, then bring it to the group because guaranteed somebody else will benefit from it. But we want our clients to be doing that legwork themselves, filling out there's a leads tracker, there's a sales tracker, there's a weekly tracker. You got to do this work. This is how Kaila and I have been able to get to where we are, and it's clearly how you've been able to get to where you are, is by treating our business like a business.
And it doesn't do you any good to have someone else do it for you, because I've done that route, and it builds you build a business on a foundation that you don't know how you did it. So if
Yeah.
those people go away, your business goes away and you're like, shit. So yeah, get down and dirty and do it, because you will then be the leader. You're going to know, even if
Yeah.
everyone went away, I know what to do to create the results.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a different, very like, controversial question, but I feel like it could even maybe be a second podcast, because I know we often talk about in private, like things going on in the coaching industry. And I know you and we've like maybe danced around this topic, but haven't went into it before. And that is, what is your opinion on like the big shift that's happening with a lot of people moving away from manifestation more towards God and bringing that into their business? Maybe this is a part two, because I know we could talk about it for a while, but yeah, I was curious your guys' input on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to do a part two. And also, the short answer to this for me is I was just talking a lot about this in the last couple of weeks with the recent US election. My sister's in the States, and there's a lot of controversy there. I'm a huge believer that everybody gets to believe in what they want to believe in and have an opinion on what they want to have. And unless I'm asking you or paying for your opinion, then I don't want it like forced upon me. And to me, I feel like if somebody says like they're using God as their guide, I'm like, yes, I love that for you. I think we all need a guide. And Kayla and I were both raised Catholic. And so we were always
Mm.
unpacking what that looked like for us and the use of God in our life growing up. And over the years, what really resonates with me is universe. Do I think when I'm talking to universe that it is a different intention than somebody who's talking to their God or somebody who's talking to their creator or source? No, I think that everybody who's reaching to a higher, I don't want to say higher power, a guide. Everybody who's reaching to a guide, I believe they're doing so with the intention of feeling like I'm not on this spinning planet alone by myself. And so in the coaching space, I do see a lot of people turning to God, capital God. And I think that is great for the people that it's really working for them. If anybody feels like they're using a connection to God because they're forced upon it, because their coach is telling them to, then that's where I think there's like a disagreement. But
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
like that's the same for if I say talk to universe and somebody doesn't want to do that. God, universe, source, creator, they're all interchangeable in my mind. That's my opinion. But I'm curious, what do you think, Kayla?
Yeah, they're interchangeable to me too. And I'm willing to always do the action to get the results and hold strong for miracles. We
Mm.
just got this house. We sold our house before buying this new house or even having an offer on this new house. And I have two little kids. It's not like I'm going to move all my stuff into a storage unit and rent, but I could do that if I needed to. But I know whether it's God or universe or source or whatever, just miracles in general. I'm like, I am here for the miracles. Show me the house that's going to have all the things we need in it that I've been manifesting. Let's go. And lo and behold, it always works out.
I
So
love it.
the miracles. Of course, we're all doing the action. We're building the business. We're tracking the revenue. We incorporated it a long time ago, all with the intention of building wealth and building an incredible business. And then I think you got to be open to not being in like white knuckle control over everything that's happening all the time. There are miracles occurring literally every day, all the time, all around us.
Yeah. Look at a pregnant mom with a baby in her belly. It's a miracle. What? The fact that we delivered humans is insane.
What's your take on it, Jackie?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's something I've been sitting with for a while. I was actually raised as a Jehovah's Witness. So it was very strict form of Christianity, but I'm in many ways, I was always grateful for it because I had a relationship with God from a young age. So I always felt like it's a bit mixed messaging. Like we were raised being told the world was wicked, but that because God, that you're safe. Early in my tapping journey, I had to do a lot of work around feeling safe in the world because of that. Simultaneously, always knowing God's there and learning how to pray at a young age, I think in some ways makes me really good at tapping, because people are always like, how do you know what to say? And I'm like, I've been like, I've been talking to God since I was little, and tapping often reminds me almost of as a form of prayer. And then as I became an adult and I got into like people like Gabby Bernstein and Marianne Williamson, I really studied her for a long time. I felt shame and afraid of it, afraid to talk about it, because I was afraid that like my mom would find out and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. And then I got into the world of tarot cards and those sorts of things. And then in more recent years have stopped doing that. I don't use cards anymore. I think going through a major health crisis really makes you check yourself, like what is my faith? I've always been a very spiritual person, but I'm the type of person, I'll listen to Joel Osteen on Sunday and I'll also listen to Abraham Hicks every morning
Mhm.
because they're technically saying the same thing. They're
Yeah.
just using, and I know that's controversial for some people, and I just think it's a very personal process. Like, I'm not going to judge you if Jesus is the one and only thing that you will ever say or listen to. I also believe in Jesus, and I also believe I like listening to Abraham Hicks has been really helpful in my life. And I think that it's speaking the same language in a different way. I've just seen like a lot of people online starting to shift towards it, which I'm intrigued by. I know Kaila Craft is someone I listen to a lot, and she did a whole series on her podcast about identity work in the Bible. And I was like, this is so cool. And I've always tried to keep an open mind. And when it comes to people who tap with me, the basics is you have to have some sort of faith because whatever you want in life, you're going to be faced with challenges and obstacles. And to think that you're the one that's got to figure it all out, it's you're gonna quit. You're gonna feel like I can't do it. But if you know that there's something greater in this earth and this world that's you're here for a reason has got you. I think that's the secret. I was just curious your thoughts on it. And I know we talk a lot about things going on in the industry, and that was one of them. I was curious your thoughts.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting in that Kayla and I both have this belief as well. And we've said this many times over the years to our community and our clients of the number one thing that you have to believe in order for what we're teaching to land is you have to believe in something bigger than you. Because if you do feel like this is all weighing on your shoulders and that you can't put a prayer or a miracle or a please something someone help me make this happen, it's life is going to feel long and arduous and like you're just like taking it all on by yourself, and I don't know, it doesn't seem very fun that way.
It's true. We follow the good feelings, and whether it's Abraham or God or whatever that looks like for people, I think both can exist.
Yeah.
If Abraham makes you feel good to listen to in the morning and do a fun, everybody, the universe has your back rampage, and then also pray to the creator that you believe in, then go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fascinating. And I think there's a big shift happening in the world right now. Even people that are some people I've tapped with are like, I'm going to church, but I feel bad about it because I don't want my family to know. And I'm like, I think church in general is everything is changing, which used to be a divider. I think people are being more inclusive and it's a good thing. And yeah, it's just, I think it's an ongoing conversation that's important to have in our communities. And obviously, inclusivity is a value that we all have. And
Yeah.
so, thank you for sharing your opinion on
Thanks
it.
for asking. And I think that this is a great way to say, let's do part two and talk about industry conversations and what's happening and what we really think. Because I know Kayla and I talk about this a lot, and then the three of us get to chat about it every now and then. But there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and different things happening out there. And one thing that I really pride ourselves on, and why I believe us three have such a good connection and true meaningful friendship, is we're staying true to who we are. The smoke and mirrors can happen. The people can be lying about their numbers, making up shit, saying things that's not real. And I know that we're always speaking the truth about what's really going on in our businesses and our lives. And I feel really good about that.
Amen to that. Thank you all so much, both of you, so much for your questions today.
Before we go, Jackie, for everybody who's going to listen on our platform, where can they find you? What do you have coming up? We know there's something big in December. This will be released on our end before that. So we'll make sure that it's included in the show notes. Tell us all the things.
Thank you. Yeah, so I am doing a 4-day wildly wealthy woman tapping experience. And I know people have come to my Learn to Tap free trainings in the past. This is going to be a little different than that. We are going to cover some things like the science of tapping and how it works and why it works, tapping in the body. But we're also going to talk about if you've had income or visibility plateaus this year. We're going to tap on that. We're going to be looking at if you feel like you want to go for your big vision next year, but your capacity to hold it all is at its max, and then tapping into your wildly wealthy woman identity. And I'm actually going to share a bit of our experience at the NLP work that I had and how combining that has been really helpful. So it's all free, happening December 3rd to 6th. I'd love to have you there, and we will share the link, I'm sure, in the show notes. You can reach out to me over on Instagram at the Jackie McDonald or the Jackie McDonald, or my website, jackiemcdonald.ca.
Okay, I love that. I can't wait to hear of all the people who sign up and the breakthroughs they have, and like on both sides, because I know people from our world will say, hey, I got connected with Jackie and it was amazing. And then I also can't wait for us three to come together afterwards and you to tell us how amazing it felt to be able to hold that many people.
Thank you. Same. And for my community, who are just experiencing you two magical beings for the first time, where can they follow you and what can they come to that you have coming up?
We always like to tell people everything is My Line Purpose. So they can tune into our podcast, My Line Purpose podcast, Instagram's My Line Purpose, Facebook's My Line Purpose, our website's mylinepurpose.com. And then a great place for everybody to start with us is to take our quiz, mylinepurpose.com/quiz. And Kaila and I love to support women business owners who are feeling stuck in one-to-one delivery. And maybe that's like in person. Maybe you're a doctor, a naturopath, an RMT, something like that. And you've got clients who are on your table and you'd like to know what it looks like to build out a one-to-many model online, or you're a coach or service provider in the online space, but you're trapped in the one-to-one, our quiz will show you the fastest way you can go from one-to-one to many.
Love it. Like I said, these two are some of the best in the industry. I trust them more than anyone else, really. And I've been behind the scenes and everything with you guys. So go follow them, check them out, send them a message, let them know that I sent you. And
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.
Okay, I know everybody's going to want part two, so we'll be back.
I'm excited.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.